a lot of times we have our perspectives that are shaping our reality. And when there's an area in our life that serves as a constant challenge, as a constant source or place of discomfort, frustration, or unhappiness, I invite you to, and I challenge you, because it can feel a little challenging at first, but I promise you, as with anything, the more you practice this, the more often you do it, you're going to get better at it. And then guess what? You're not going to be uncomfortable for as long, and you're going to keep elevating your self-esteem, and you're going to feel happier, and then you're going to attract better things because we attract more of how we are feeling. So this is important. It's important to pay attention to and get curious about where the discomfort is showing up in your life. And I'm going to give you an example that is going to sound really small, but then we'll talk about how much of a ripple effect it can make when you overcome this little challenge and by shifting your perspective around it. So I'm sounding super vague and elusive, so let's get to the example and to the point. Okay. I noticed a while back in just becoming increasingly more aware of myself that the time of day that I dislike the most, where my energy starts to fade and I just really felt blah during this time, was between the hours of 3 and 5. Now, as a coach, one positive success habit that I encourage my clients to do, and likely every, if not most coaches will do this too, you likely hear people talking about scheduling time blocks. And this is going to help you get more done with less effort, and it'll help you get started as well. And so it's important to pay attention to yourself, be more aware of are you a morning person? Are you a night person? Are you, when are you most focused and energized? Because that's when you want to focus on I call it your hardcore focus time. Brian Tracy, I don't know if he's the one that first said it, but talks about eating a frog. You know, you want to do your most difficult task either first thing in the morning or during the time of day where you are most focused, because then you're going to get more done faster. You're working with a streamlined focus versus a distracted focus. So anyhow, I'm a morning person, and I notice that during the hours between 3 and 5, my energy starts to fade a little bit. And so maybe during that time, I'll do something that doesn't require as much brain power, for example. But I actually overcame this uncomfortable blah feeling that I used to get for years and years and years between 3 and 5 p.m. every single day. Like, why is my energy dipping like this? Why am I feeling not good during this time? You know, I'd feel energized and good, and then kind of hit a wall and start to actually really feel unhappy during those hours. And then my energy and happiness level would pick back up again after. So how I overcame this feeling during those hours was by getting curious about why am I feeling this way at this time. And I thought back to my childhood. Now, we don't have to take everything back to our childhood, especially if you're a person that doesn't want to dig deep into that kind of stuff, but I do think it's highly beneficial. But okay, so when I was a child, you know, I would finish school at 3 o'clock and then go home. Well, I didn't like going home because I didn't like my home life. I felt blah, low energy, unhappy at home. Years later, guess what? This experience is no longer happening to me. I'm not coming home from school and going home to a house that I don't like anymore, but I'm still carrying this emotion that I have. My perspective has shaped around these hours of the day. I mean, how cool is that I realized that? And then I'll tell you what I did to shift it. But just to paint a picture, so energized in the morning, and I loved school. I had friends, I was popular, always had a little boyfriend. I was actually the class clown. I was really silly and, you know, making people laugh and stuff like that. So at school, I felt energized, I felt like myself, and I felt accepted. Then going home, I dreaded going home. Most kids were excited when the bell rang. My energy sank and I felt sad because I was going to go home to a yuck home life where I wasn't, you know, treated very nice. I basically wasn't accepted, and I was always in trouble and for being myself, and it was just yuck. So years later, as an adult, I am carrying this perspective with me. And my perspective was actually not true. I live by myself. I've created a nice home and a nice life for myself. So I just in having that awareness, that helped me to realize my ability, my power to shift my perspective and overcome this uncomfortable feeling that I was having, you know, every day during these hours. So what I did was I decided, okay, what activity can I do during these hours that I can focus on that will make me feel good? So I just started doing a project that I enjoyed and during those hours, and that helped me to shift my perspective around those hours. And guess what? I don't feel that way anymore. I no longer dread the hours between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Now, why does that matter? Because again, we attract more of how we're feeling. So let's say I go run an errand or I have a client call during that time. If I'm not feeling my best, that's what I'm giving, and so that's what I'm going to be getting back. Also, anytime we are unhappy, we feel like we have a problem, that no matter what we're trying to focus our attention on, some of our attention is going to that problem. So we're working with a distracted focus. So we will be less effective. So you want to pay attention to your challenges, get curious about why they're there, and your challenges are showing up through your emotions. But a lot of times we ignore our uncomfortable emotions because naturally we want to be comfortable. But again, if you're feeling uncomfortable, experiencing discomfort, you are already uncomfortable. So the more quickly you start to pay attention to that uncomfortable feeling, then the more quickly you're going to overcome that challenge. So now, I no longer experience these uncomfortable emotions during 3 and 5, so I can get more done during those hours. I can be more effective, I can be more impactful, and I'm going to attract better things because I'm feeling happier. So that just is an example of something that seems super small, but you can create impactful change in your life just by making little shifts, and you have the power to do that. So hopefully sharing my example will help you to consider some challenges or some areas of discomfort in your own life and help you to empower yourself and start making some simple shifts that can then create impactful change. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, I invite you to like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated on my next video, and I will see you then.